Live with ClickOrlando.com, this is News 6, Getting Results.
Thanks for joining us for this special News 6 edition of Getting Results Together. I'm Erik von Ancken. Every week we highlight how law enforcement officers are working with the community to reduce crime while improving their policing, thus getting results together. We start tonight with this story, a simple yet life-saving way to get results together for students who are threatening suicide at UCF. Students themselves came up with the solution, and tonight police are telling us how it already saved one suicidal student.
Hey. Hi, what's your name?
It was a cold, dark January morning at UCF when police got this call for help.
My hand. Okay? I want to make sure you're okay. Come on. Come with me. Okay?
UCF police shared this body camera footage with us of a student in crisis. She was threatening to jump from the top of this parking garage.
Let's take a seat, okay?
Officers using their training talked her down. And then UCF's police chief played this video for his advisory council, largely made up of students, and explained this happens regularly here, at least once every few weeks, more around the stressful times of the semester.
Specifically, when students first come to UCF, they may get homesick and they realize, hey, this is a different college experience than what I was used to.
Sergeant Frank Imparato tells me the advisory council students were so moved by this body camera video, they wondered, could a sign, a reminder that there is help, make all the difference at this parking garage?
So we have 4 different numbers on the sign.
So police got it done. The signs simply say, you matter, we are here to help. And they list 4 phone numbers to call or text.
So there's one in every corner.
Police placed them around the perimeter of the top floor of the garage, next to blue light call boxes that will call a 911 dispatcher with the push of a button.
You cannot come to the top of this garage and realize that there's options.
Right, absolutely. There's definitely resources here for you.
Sergeant Imparato says the police department just got a call forwarded from the suicide prevention hotline, which is one of the numbers on the sign. It was a student in crisis in the garage.
Is it likely you believe the student saw this sign and that number?
Yes, sir.
That might have saved that student's life?
Absolutely. I believe it did save that student's life.
My name's Greg.
And every single time police tell us they've gotten results, they have never lost a student.
100% of the lives have been saved.
That's getting results.
Absolutely is getting results, and I'm proud of that.
In Ocala, a revolutionary way to get results in the fight against opioids, giving away Narcan to those struggling with addiction. So how is that working? We first told you when the Ocala Fire Department started doing it back in 2019, actually making home deliveries and dropping off the life-saving drug. Now we follow up. The Ocala Fire Department's trucks are stocked with Narcan for 2 reasons. To bring an overdosing addict back to life, of course, but also to leave the overdose-reversing drug there with the addict and his or her roommates, friends, and family.
It was a way for us to keep our citizens healthier and reduce the utilization of 911 and reduce the number of beds occupied by chronic problems instead of emergencies.
When we first met Ocala Fire Rescue Captain Jesse Blair in late 2019, he was heading up an idea that was raising eyebrows. Using fire department trucks and personnel to leave behind Narcan with instructions on how to use it and how to do CPR.
Our Narcan Leave Behind program was discouraging at first.
Captain Blair says they were getting nowhere. The addicts just kept taking the drug and overdosing. But then he discovered the fire department was getting results together, paying it forward.
Well, fast forward 2 years, now a small percentage of the people who we go to who have overdosed have already received Narcan from somebody at the home. That happened 2 times just last week.
Firefighters are leaving behind 40 to 50 doses of the drug every month, and now they've given out enough Narcan that those who've gotten it are giving it to others who need it and saving their lives. And through a grant, the fire department has hired a full-time community paramedic, Captain Blair calls this, to deliver Narcan when an addict calls, usually within an hour, and then go back to the home and follow up, making sure the user knows that there is help and how to get it. And then, yes, an Ocala firefighter will deliver Narcan to your door any time of day, always free. Tonight, proof that Lake Mary's groundbreaking new approach to caring for the mentally ill is getting results together. We first told you about the police department's brigade of volunteers last year. Their specialists can help people in mental health crisis get everything they need to live a better life.
This emergency room at South Seminole Hospital, like most across Central Florida, has become a very busy place. COVID patients have taken over beds, doctors, and supplies, leaving even less for the mentally ill. But still, this Longwood Hospital is where police or paramedics bring patients who are Baker acted, those in mental health crisis required to be hospitalized for their own safety.
What is involved with a Baker Act? What do you guys have to do, and why is it so taxing?
So we'll take these patients, we assess them. They will be seen with an RN, but also a medical provider.
Jacqueline Sokolowski runs the ER here at South Seminole and Lake Mary. She's always known this is not the ideal place for someone in mental health crisis, especially right now.
You want to see a psychologist, you want to have your meds, and the emergency room is not a quiet environment necessarily.
So earlier this year, she and her hospitals joined the Mental Health Intervention Group, or MIG, a network of partners put together by the Lake Mary Police Department. Counselors, social workers, pharmacists, food pantries, pastors, and hospitals who go to the mentally ill and give them the help they need to stay out of the hospital.
It's common for us to Baker Act people 5, 6, 7 times. That should never happen.
Officer Zach Hudson pulled MIG together in February. He says since then, 51 people in mental health crisis identified by police and the hospitals agreed to take help from MIG's partners.
And of those 51, only two of those individuals have been Baker Acted since we saw them. So that's really an incredible number.
And these are 51 people that otherwise you might never have gotten to.
Absolutely.
Or might have ended up in the system to where you had to confront them.
Right. Or it could have been tragic.
So what you're doing has kept most of those 51 people from coming back.
Right, yeah.
That's getting results.
No, it's exciting. It is. It's exciting. It's showing you right there that the community needed this and they're using it and it's moving in the right direction.
And we're digging deeper into one important aspect of that groundbreaking mental health intervention group partnership. All of the specialists that have partnered with the police department are volunteering their services, we told you, addressing the individual needs of those in mental health crisis, including our most vulnerable, children.
We come in here, a lot of times we're on the floor with our pillows.
Jamie Grover's specialty is children.
My point is to make them feel comfortable.
He's been a child mental health counselor for years, talking to kids here in his Sanford office when they or their parents called him. But now...
So this is a look at the referral that I get from MIG.
He's also counseling the children that MIG tells him about, the Mental Health Intervention Group.
The pandemic certainly did not help. All families being forced into quarantine and brick and mortar school being out the door. It's been tough on a lot of our kids.
MIG is a Seminole County-wide partnership of counselors and doctors, pharmacists.
We have soups, we have vegetables, we have boxed meals.
Food pantries, social workers, churches, and synagogues. Brought together by this team at the Lake Mary Police Department back in March to fill any need for anyone in mental health crisis, including children in crisis.
And struggling, very much so, almost to the point of suicide.
Suicide?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The way it works, the partners are notified by Lake Mary Police or South Seminole Hospital when someone in crisis comes into the hospital or comes in contact with police. If the patient agrees to help from MIG,
and I work day or evening, so you tell me what's most convenient for you.
the MIG partners are calling, making at-home visits, delivering food, even mowing a patient's lawn. This yard cleanup was done by Northland Church, a MIG partner for a woman struggling with her mental health. MIG is addressing the stress, keeping patients out of the hospital and avoiding confrontations with police.
If they're already pre-crisis, we want to make sure we're getting those individuals help. And that's, again, what this program does. That way we prevent those individuals from actually getting Baker Acted at all.
So far, 51 people in crisis have been referred to MIG partners and are getting specialized, individualized help. Only 2 have been back to the hospital, and none of them were children.
Still to come on the special edition of Getting Results Together, how one city and one county have teamed up to create a community for those struggling with opioid addiction, even driving them to a one-stop shop to get them the help they need. Later, how the new approach is already getting results together. But first, the local police department taking full advantage of federal money to build trust with their community, where the money is going and how officers are using it to get to know their neighborhoods better and get results together. You're watching a special edition of Getting Results Together. We're getting results for all of Central Florida on air, online, and on the new 6 Plus app. We'll be right back. A local police department using federal dollars to get results together. Law enforcement gets grants for all kinds of things, but in Palm Bay, the PD there is using it for one thing, to build trust.
Don't mind us.
Money can't exactly buy relationships.
Good. It's going good.
But it can pay for the officers to build them.
Hey, how are you? I'm going to do a side of mac and cheese, please.
Officer Ryan Austin is one of the 6 Palm Bay police officers whose salary will be paid by a federal grant.
Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
To do more of this.
We want our community to know that we're real.
When Lieutenant Jeff Spears helped write the grant application, he used the word legitimacy.
We are in a time throughout our society, throughout the country, as many know, where law enforcement are looked at more so than ever before. And so what we want our community to know is that our officers are real. It's easy for us to say that that's who we are. To have a unit that can go deliver what our philosophy is to the community is what the grant was designed for.
What's going on, Miss Connie?
Officer Austin spends much of his time here at the Evans Center in the Powell subdivision near Driscoll Heights. We were here right after a shooting up the street.
Tomorrow night we have their HOA meeting we go to, where I'll provide it to every member that's in attendance, and maybe they'll give some information then. We're ready for the meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
Yep, so hopefully you have some questions for us.
Ms. Connie McClary is the Crime Watch president here.
That's why I tell people, always make sure you have communication with your police officers, because all police officers is not bad, and we have some of the best officers in Palm Bay.
Hey, how you doing, sir? Enjoying the park?
And the PD says since the first grant is getting results together,
hey,
they're doing it again.
No pressure. Come on, man.
The PD is getting a second federal grant. This time to buy 6 bikes to serve and connect through a more approachable recreational patrol presence, they said in that application. Oh, and they also want to buy a food trailer.
How's the water?
So they can bring it to where kids are and get to know them when they hand out lunches and snacks.
Us giving rather than always wanting to get information back.
Osceola County's first Hispanic sheriff is connecting with his community in ways that have never been done before. For Sheriff Marcos Lopez, it was important for him to speak to people in his county the way that a large portion of them speak to him, in Spanish.
I'm Sheriff Lopez with the Osceola County Sheriff's Office.
We've seen several local sheriffs making videos to capture suspects on the run or highlighting recent arrests.
Hola, el alguacil Marcos Lopez, Condado de Osceola.
But this is new, the same exact video in Spanish.
Like here it's capturado en el act, caught in the act.
Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez now records 2 versions of every video for the Sheriff's Office Facebook and YouTube pages in English and for Facebook and Espanol. The page is called Oficina del Alguacil del Condado de Osceola, the office of the sheriff of the county of Osceola.
The sheriff's office here in Osceola County has never used social media like this.
No. Why? I don't know. This is a valuable tool.
Lopez tells me he ran for sheriff last year because the office wasn't connecting with the majority Hispanic community it serves. Only around 35% of the sheriff's office staff was bilingual when he took over, while Osceola's around 66% Spanish-speaking, according to Lopez.
Was it unfathomable to you that you have a community with 66% Spanish speakers and there was no Spanish outreach coming from the sheriff's office?
Yes. That is unheard of.
Already, Lopez has hired several bilingual deputies and dispatchers, including a Spanish-speaking complaint taker and interpreter, instead of relying on a third-party service.
So we're trying to employ more people that are bilingual in order to be able to reach and look more like the community.
Continuaron a discutir.
And his videos in Spanish and English also explain the why, Lopez says.
How this started a lot of people were asking for transparency.
Showing what his deputies actually do, and even what this sheriff does.
And this is busted by the sheriff, so if you're out there doing something wrong and I'm out there, I mean, it's me. I'm gonna slap the cuffs on you.
It may be you showing up at my door.
I do it all the time.
Sheriff Lopez tells me he was also planning to start an Instagram page in Spanish and even start making TikTok videos. Still ahead, how one city and county have teamed up to create a community for those struggling with addiction, even driving them to a one-stop shop to get them the help they need. Next, how that new approach is getting results together. You're watching a special edition of Getting Results Together. We'll be right back. Tonight, a deeper look into how Ocala and Marion County are combating the opioid crisis. Earlier in the special, we told you how firefighters are delivering Narcan to those struggling with addiction, but that's not all Marion County's doing. Now we're seeing the success of a one-stop shop for those who are struggling.
Not far from downtown Ocala is a bland batch of buildings called Beacon Point, because this is a beacon for those who've lost their way, overtaken by opioids.
This is where our live stream is. We do outpatient therapy here.
Travis McAllister took us on a tour.
So over to our right here, we have Building 5. This is where SMA is at. They run the medication-assisted treatment program.
He supervises the peer recovery team here, recovering addicts who now counsel current addicts.
And a peer is somebody with lived experience. Like, we want someone that has either been in addiction or has lived through addiction, like face-to-face with a family or a friend. And we bring that experience to the people we're trying to serve so that they feel more comfortable when they're in recovery.
Beacon Point is one of the few all-encompassing campuses in the state where addicts at any stage can come for every kind of treatment.
So right now we're in the group room. This is where individuals that we serve will come to relax during their clinical withdrawal management.
It opened in 2019 with the goal of preventing repeat overdoses, keeping addicts out of the emergency rooms, and ultimately getting addicts clean and back to a normal life.
That was the problem. There was, we found a significant gap in what next after emergency room. So what we're trying to bring is that what next.
Ocala Fire Rescue has since jumped on board, driving addicts directly to Beacon Point, either from their home or from the ER.
It's called a warm handoff. We take that person and we drive them or find a ride for them to the next step, and we make sure that next step understands what's going on.
A grant is now paying for a full-time community paramedic to handle calls from addicts and even deliver the overdose-reversing drug Narcan when addicts or their loved ones call and ask for it.
Community paramedicine is a proactive approach to healthcare, and we address their chronic problems before they become emergencies, and it allows that person to take care of themselves at home instead of going to the hospital.
In Orange County, the sheriff's office there does intense autism awareness training and just added a way for deputies to know when somebody has autism. And I got to know a young man named Michael and how he is getting results together with the help of the sheriff's office.
What do you want to do when you go home? Get yourself.
Applesauce with Dixie.
And where else you want to go?
For most people, this would be a big day.
We have a couple of stops we got to make.
But for Michael Morales and his mom, Denise.
So when you go home, you're going to shave.
Go home and clean Michael's closet.
And what else are you going to do?
Clean Michael's closet.
And what else?
Put shoes nice and neat.
It's just another day.
You excited?
They're here at the Orange County Sheriff's Office, again, to talk about Michael's autism.
When's Pez check out?
They're just going to talk to you.
Today, it's to me.
Tell me about autism.
Autism.
Tell me about it.
I'm playing basketball.
You play basketball.
Well, so where's Ryan?
This 26-year-old is highly intelligent, but his mom explains he says whatever comes to mind, his mind.
He doesn't respond. His thought process is just where it's, it's not where you want it to be. It's where he wants it to be.
Might want him out with the uniform.
So if Michael ended up in an encounter with law enforcement and the officer didn't know about the autism.
Wow. It can go wrong it could go wrong very quickly.
What do you worry about if your deputies don't know?
I could worry about an interaction, going very
very wrong and very badly. You've seen horrific stories across the nation, and we don't want that happening here.
Who do you live with? With mommy and daddy.
All new deputies at the Orange County Sheriff's Office go through an intensive autism awareness training course taught in part by Michael and his mom. The Sheriff's Office gave us this video of the training. Current deputies get a training refresher.
This teaches us to kind of like, okay, take a step back.
And Sheriff Mina wanted a way for his deputies to know when to use that training.
When you approach someone with autism, the tone of your voice has to completely change.
That's why the Sheriff's Office created these stickers.
It just shows that there's someone with autism in that car. It's not just on this car, but my husband's car as well.
For anyone with autism to put on their car or house and to enter their name into the dispatcher's database.
Bye.
So deputies are told and can tell.
All right, ready? You gotta buckle up.
When they need to use extra care.
Could this make all the difference?
Absolutely.
I very much enjoyed getting to know Michael. Thank you for watching this special edition of Getting Results Together. You can find all of these stories on clickorlando.com. Powered by News 6. Just look for the Getting Results Together tab right on the home page. I'm Erik Von Ancken. Have a good night.